So our vision after all of this prep work was to sit down and say, how can we remove barriers for our students and start removing those barriers one by one? How can we create optimal conditions for West Virginia students so that they can pursue a career in education and earn a wage through the Registered Apprenticeship Program to do so? So those barriers included many, many barriers, but the top barriers that we are identifying are the ability to take a dual credit course in high school and transfer that to a university or college towards a bachelor's degree in education. And when Carol was talking about lessons learned, I will say that this has been the most challenging task that we have faced so far, was to get our institutions who are our partners on board and agree to accept that dual credit towards a bachelor's degree in education. We achieved that. We're not there with all of our partners yet, but that has been very challenging, and we appreciate the collaboration we have with our higher education institutions. Of course, making sure our students are successful. Our target population in West Virginia is low SES, rural, first generation college going students. So we have to have wraparound supports in place to make sure that those students are successful academically, whether it be with the dual credit coursework, whether it be preparing and passing practice examinations, or doing well in their college coursework, or successful in their clinical experience. They need wraparound support. So it's more than financial support for our students. And then really looking at what access looks like. Do we talk about a virtual course? Do we talk about face-to-face or a hybrid? Getting those students enrolled in the university. You think about transportation, childcare, rolling enrollment, all of those things are considerations with our program. And then of course, the time and the cost. And I'll share with you a little bit about what our program looks like and how we have supported both of those barriers. So in our apprenticeship model, the students have in the Grow Your Own Pathway 115 hours built into their high school experience. In the apprenticeship, they are youth apprentices and they are paid an incremental wage for both their junior and senior year of high school for those field experiences. In our state policy, we require 125 hours of field experience during the college experience. So that is another incremental wage when that student moves to an apprenticeship, as an apprentice in the college experience, earning money for those field experience hours, a salary. And then in the senior year of college, in our pathway, these students go back to their community and serve as the clinical teacher of record, earning a salary no less than the 65% of the state aid formula. So not quite a first year teacher salary, but more than they would make working otherwise. And then benefits seniority and high levels of support, not only from the college because they're still enrolled in the university, but our county systems have committed to hiring an FTE to support those students as a cohort supervisor. This is what our pathway looks like, and you can access this at teachwv.com if you want to look at it more closely. But really, it's a 24-hour credit that the students graduate from high school, dual credit towards a bachelor's degree in education. 4 of those credits are core academic content credits, and 4 of those courses are Ed Foundation courses. Again, lessons learned, very challenging to come to an agreement with our partners in higher education as to what those last column courses would look like. We wrote those courses. However, we give our universities the opportunity to align coursework they already have in place with our coursework, and that way they can course code it for their institution as well as for the high school institution. So it looks differently depending on the partner institution, but we did a scan and looked at all that was being taught in our universities for our education students, and that's how we came to the decision which courses we would offer in that final column. One thing I'll share, you'll notice that these are coded for Perkins funding. So even though this is not a public facing program of study, it is more an academic pathway. We have coded those courses so that our county systems can still pull down the Perkins 5 money through their CTE programs. So we have a couple of resources that I would be happy to provide you upon request. One is a teaching pathway manual that we created for our county systems. We created templates, we've created sample MOUs, service agreements, enrollment processes, syllabi, providing opportunities for instructors to look through that coursework and identify how they're going to deliver that at their county level. But this manual has been very helpful in supporting our districts as they are preparing to enroll students in the Grow Your Own pathway at their level. We also created an apprenticeship manual that really follows very closely the U.S. Department of Labor requirements. You want to have partners who are providing those financial supports, but also providing those wraparound supports, helping you administer a no-cost, low-cost pathway, and really targeting that recruitment. In our pilot year, 30% of our students were first-generation college-going students, and we expect that number to raise exponentially because the first year, we know that the people that have taken advantage of this are people that knew about it and had the support to enter that. So we're excited to watch that level grow. So one of the things that we said to our institutions was, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Look at what you're already doing. Look at the program that we have developed. How can we work together and merge those programs so that you can continue accessing all of the resources you have? And that's worked really well. One of the partnerships I want to share with you about that you may have thought about, but you may have not thought about to date, is our partnership with our Division of Rehabilitation Services. So we reached out and had a conversation with our partners in DRS, and they said, you know, you've got a school for the deaf and the blind in the state. So we reached out to our schools for the deaf and the blind. There are 7 students, residential students at that school, who are interested in pursuing a career in education. So through DRS, they are identified as disability consumers. And as disability consumers, the DRS will provide full coverage for the college education of those students at the schools for the deaf and the blind. We can expand that by identifying our students out in our schools across the state who are also disability consumers and extend that same opportunity. What do the partnerships do for us? Not only are we looking for sustained financial support for apprenticeship wages and college tuition and materials and textbooks and those items, but really supporting our students with mentoring, with test preparation, with wraparound services while they're in the classroom through clinical supervision or our cohort supervisors, and then of course supporting the paraprofessional pipeline.